Wizards of the Coast is lining up for a very successful year. We've got Final Fantasy sold out, and we've got Tarkir Dragonstorm, and it's flying its way to victory. What does this mean for you, the player, and what do you need to know? Well, stay tuned. We have a lot to talk about in today's video. It was a wild weekend for fans of Magic the Gathering. This weekend's Magic Con in Chicago gave a deluge of information for players to digest and just think about the upcoming products. Everything from Final Fantasy spoilers, Tarkir Dragonstorm, and of course, even Avatar left a lot of players wondering where is this game going and just how much money are we going to spend. Welcome back, everyone. MTG Moxman here. Thank you again for hanging out with me on my channel today. We're going to start by talking about what's going on with Final Fantasy. As most of you guys realized late last week, when the pre-orders started to appear at your local LGS level, well, basically everything's sold out. I mean, sold out before I could even click the link in some cases. It was already gone. That is everything from the bundle packs all the way through to play booster boxes, the initial wave, and of course including the collector boxes, which is what everyone is talking about right now. So let's take a minute. I have gone and looked at every LGS I deal with. I have answers from about 50%, and they're all telling me the collector boxes are gone. Now, me saying this also means I am contributing to this FOMO event, and I am aware of it, but I still think it's important to note that these boxes are $699 plus tax in Canada. That means they cost $800 with taxes in. That is an insane amount of money to spend on a single box of 12 packs. And it's what we talked about with 30th anniversary, how Wizards of the Coast is just kind of edging us up the more expensive products in a slower way to make our minds accept it a little bit better. That's my opinion. I have no proof otherwise, but that's just how I feel when I look at all these expensive products, because a lot of players out there are thinking, this is getting kind of insane for this hobby. And they're like rubbing their chest like, oh, I can hardly breathe. It's crazy to think about, guys, but that's where it's going. That's what's happening with Final Fantasy. And here's the real kicker. People who are fans of this, who don't play Magic, were buying boxes. They found out where they were being sold and they bought them. Scalpers got involved. Speculators are in on this. It is going to be insane to see where these boxes land, but I would not be surprised if they are well over $1,000 if you can find any. Get ready for it. Drop some comments about that one. If you've already watched this far, it's insane to me to think about where this is going. Now, the same will probably be said for The Last Airbender. Okay, Avatar stuff is usually very popular. I know tons of fans who don't play Magic, of course, but they still collect the memorabilia, the items from this amazing TV show. And I remember it as a kid. I remember kind of growing up and watching this stuff as a 20-something-year-old. I had a friend who loved it. I remember going to see that really bad movie that they put in the theaters years ago. And of course, the Netflix one was really good, actually. I thought it was pretty nice. So where does that leave us? Well, that's going to be a really high-end product that a lot of players are going to dive in on. It's going to sell out really quickly. Be prepared. I don't have much to say about that one right now until I see a lot more info, but it's where it's at. Now, let's jump to Aetherdrift. Yeah, that was a set that got released just a week ago, like 7 days ago. 7 days ago. Nothing's moving, nothing's selling. Nothing's going on with the product. There are a lot of singles, though, that are probably going to rebound later on. Pay attention to it. Be aware of it. I covered it in a top 10 video this weekend. It was insane to think about how low these sales were and how uninterested players are when they saw this new information coming out. It's like we looked at it and said, oh yeah, Aetherdrift. What's over here? Everything else? And everyone jumped over to it. Now, Tarkir Dragonstorm. Mox Jasper, and I'm sorry about my mix-up on the wording and understanding of the card. Yes, I did know that, but I read things wrong and it got in my brain, and, you know, it is what it is. I put a pinned comment. I apologize to everyone. Things happen. Mox Jasper gets the conversation about Tarkir Dragonstorm heading in the right direction. You give us Sarkin, the dragon guy, 2/2 for 2. You give us Narset. You give us a few dragons that are spirit dragons, and before you know it, you have a free PR campaign of conversation talking about this upcoming set. Yes, it means that Aetherdrift gets left in the dust and nobody really cares, but you're moving a conversation for free. You're not having to spend a lot of money. You just showed some cool cards and the conversation takes off on its own, because Tarkir Dragonstorm is more of the typical fantasy kind of idea that many players love to talk about, view and review over and over again, and it just starts building up in our minds the creative atmosphere to want to get involved with a set like this. Now, with Final Fantasy, that all stands as well, except for it is an expensive product. It has a higher price tag attached to things like the collector boxes, so that value has to be pushed forward by a heavier invested PR campaign based on the IP, okay? So it's a big IP, a lot of money. They probably have to generate a lot of cash from this to pay the guys at Final Fantasy, and before you know it, we're moving in that direction anyway, just because so many people love the world, love the idea, and are going to buy it. Now, Aetherdrift, like we said, gets left in the dust, forgotten about, nobody really cares. But that money will still be there. Some of these cards are needed in Standard. They are going to find homes in Commander, so I still say, don't forget, the whole video I'm going to say, don't forget about this. Don't forget those cards. Look for the dip. Buy the cards you want, things like Monument of Endurance, and hold on to those suckers for a long time. Now, Mox Jasper. All these cool dragons we're seeing. We are going to see more cards. We are going to see uncommons that are probably quite powerful, and it's something to keep note of. But we haven't seen that pre-order pricing. We haven't seen where these things are going, and that won't happen for a few weeks yet. Don't expect it right away. Let things blend in with Final Fantasy. Let that inertia carry forward, and then stores are going to be able to recuperate. Because here's the thing. I know I talked to several stores this weekend. Most of these stores are investing anywhere from $20,000 to $50,000 into Final Fantasy, with bigger stores going a lot more than that, just to get the product from distribution. And then they've got to actually mark it up, put it on their shelves, and move the product, which again means pre-orders have to be sold at a certain level. They're probably going to keep some hidden behind the counters and say that they don't have any right now to see where the prices land. This is like a crazy world we haven't been in for a while. This reminds me of Bloomburrow, but it seems like it's Bloomburrow that's been added with some nitrous oxide, and things are just zipping along at an insane speed. Now, we are likely going to see a lot more spoilers coming up for Tarkir Dragonstorm, and we are going to have to wait to see what happens with Final Fantasy, because it's not due till June, so it's going to take a back seat for a while, and we're going to see a lot more of Tarkir Dragonstorm now coming to the forefront. With cards like Mox Jasper, Taval, the Balanced Scale, the Skirmish Rhino, these cards offer a lot of versatility in Standard. They're going to see a lot of play, and I love, if you've been around as long as I have for things like Tarkir, the Siege Rhino was a big card back then, and now we have the Skirmish Rhino, a little bit weaker, but at the same time, you get to have your opponents lose life, you get to gain life, and it can be used in Commander, of course, for each opponent. When we see some of the cards they've been giving us, you can see how much thought and care they've been putting toward what's going on right now in Standard. When I look at cards like Paragon of the Way, Shiko, this thing is a 5 casting cost 4/5. It's got Flying and Vigilance. When it enters, you exile a target non-land card with mana 3 or less from your graveyard, but you copy it, and you may cast it without paying its mana cost. Being able to cast out low casting cost creatures for free is always a good thing. Narsat, the Waymaster there, 3 casting cost 3/4, legendary creature, human monk. But at the beginning of each end step, you may discard your hand, and if you do, you draw cards equal to the number of spells you cast this turn. It's insane to think what you could do with that card. Now, Inevitable Defeat. I love cards that can't be countered. This is going to exile a target non-land permanent, so I love the fact it deals with planeswalkers, through enchantments, anything you want, and each controller is going to lose 3 life and you gain 3 life. Very nice card to see. And the last 3 I want to share with you down here at the bottom, we are going to see is going to be Burning Step, the Stormscale Scion, and Smile at Death. Now, what gets me the most out about these cards is the Baron Step. It kind of reminds me of the other kind of Ascendancy cards. It's 1 black, 1 white, 2 other. As this enchantment enters, choose Asban or Mardu, and of course they each have an effect. At the beginning of your end step, put a +1/+1 counter each creature you control, or at the beginning of each end step, if a creature died under your control this turn, each opponent sacrifices a creature. Kind of nice. The Stormscale Scion, though, that's a beast of a dragon. This thing is a 6 casting cost 4/4 for a flying dragon that gets all dragons +1/+1, but it also has Storm when it comes into play. When this comes in, copy it for each spell you cast this turn before it, and they'll get copies. That's insane. And then Smile at Death, 5 casting cost, 2 white, 3 other. At the beginning of your upkeep, return up to 2 target creature cards with power 2 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Put a +1/+1 counter on each one of those creatures. And the last kind of spoiler they gave us is going to be Sarkon, the Dragon Ascendant. Now this is a 2/2 for 1 red and 1 other. When Sarkon enters, you may behold a dragon. If you do, create a treasure token. To behold a dragon, choose a dragon you control and reveal that dragon from your hand. Whenever a dragon you control enters, put a +1/+1 counter on Sarkon. Until end of turn, Sarkon becomes a dragon in addition to its other types and gains flying. Well, that's pretty awesome as well, don't you think? Now, one of the things I think most people may be overlooking right now, when you look at the spoilers they just shared with us from Tarkir Dragonstorm, they are powerful cards. They are all going to find homes. I can find a use for each one of those cards, if not in standard, inside Commander or casual games. They are going to be awesome to play with. Rares, mythics, even uncommons like the Rhino are going to have a home. They are going to get played. This kind of PR campaign of just great utilitarian cards, good artwork that is going to appeal to a lot of players, means you are going to have good sales as long as the prices aren't out of whack. Either way, we're in for a great time. I can't wait to see what you guys think. Drop some comments in the comment sections. Share that with me. Anyway, thanks again for hanging out. Thanks for being here for another video. And don't worry, we'll be back tomorrow. I'll see you guys then. Have a great day. And until then, don't forget, bring a friend to Magic. Well, here we are back at the end of the video looking at all these amazing patrons of the channel sharing their wealth of knowledge with me each and every day. Because of these patrons, daily uploaded content is made possible to YouTube, and whether you're a patron or a YouTube membership member, guys, you all matter, and I want to appreciate each and every one of you for taking the time and choosing my channel to support. Thanks again, guys. We'll see you tomorrow with another video. I feel very comfortable with Tarkir Dragonstorm already. I like the look of the cards. I like the look of the artwork. Wait, this is the Ramble Jamble. Welcome back, everyone. But yes, that's how I feel. I looked at the cards in that spoiler, and as I read them to you on the screen, I liked it. It's not a race car. It's not something weird from Ghostbusters. It's not an evil cabin in the woods, although that's pretty awesome. It is just cool to see dragons in the air, to see some favored characters coming back, and to find out what it's all going to be about. All I need is an Ugin spirit dragon of some type planeswalker busting out, Bolas being freed, or some crazy stuff to get my mind set ablaze with the possibilities. Guys, it's a great time to be in the world of Magic the Gathering. It is a lot of crazy stuff going on, but it is so cool to be here. That's it. That's all I got. That's how I feel.